Hey everyone, how's it going? We're live with this very exciting episode that we're gonna get to in a minute, and I am so stoked. First, just gonna take a minute to say hi everyone. This is so cool. Thank you all for joining us here on Tales from the Table Studios. We've got so many amazing things going on right now, and we're gonna have some cool announcements coming up in the next 2 weeks. We were back earlier this week with DTA after taking off just about a month for the charity drive. Month and a half, I think, is what it worked out to, something like that. But we're here now with all these amazing familiar faces. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I'm just going to throw things over to our amazing DM, and we'll go from there. Jack, why don't you take it away?
Greetings and welcome back to the Successor States of Rega. This arc is the Shadow of the Dragon. When last we all met, and I'll let my players introduce themselves in a minute, but I did want to remind you that when last they all met, they had just succeeded in redeeming the broken King Scotus, returning him to virtue and having him collected and taken away by Favonius, the god of the West Wind. As a result of that, the Tomb of Sorrows itself disappeared entirely, as if it had never been. Unfortunately, the black iron crown that Scotus wore was still there on the hilltop. When we do rejoin our adventurers, they are on their way back to town with that crown. I'm sure that's not important in any way. At any rate, I am Jack Kellum, at Jack Gogsbane on Twitter, of Gods and Gamemasters in any number of places. All of my links are available on Twitter, and I am currently working on continuing to build this world out with my legends and myths on my podcast of Gods and Gamemasters, available where you get your pods. I have my world building series on YouTube for, again, this very same world, and a number of published works available on my store, DM's Guild and Itch.io, all under of Gods and Gamemasters. You can find them, I hope. If you can't find them, I've done something very wrong. Anyway, so it is important to know that I have with me tonight some of the best role players ever to play roles. And we will begin with Rev.
Hi, I'm Rev. I write the games for Thought Police. You can find us on Twitter at _Thought Police. Pretty straightforward. I play Oldie, who is a halfling bard and all about trying to make friends with everybody, whether or not they know that they're my friends yet. And just so happy to have Luca with me on our magical journey of friendship. Without their support, it would not happen. So, and that's it. I'm gonna pass on to the next person.
So that everyone's aware, you will be seeing Rev's character Oldie do some things that may not match what you expect from a bard, because he is playing both a homebrew race of my design and a subclass of my design. He's a Deepwood halfling of the College of Rhetoric. Both of these are available, and I think they're cool. All right, next, Justina.
Hi, I'm Justina. I will be playing Florenta, who is a human rogue thief. You can find me on Twitter, Justina Revolution, and yeah, in a couple of months I have an adventure to come out called Nightmare Pass. It is a sandbox that is basically Robin Hood meets the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That sounds thrilling. Nice. Justina is our token normal character. or so it appears at the moment. That'll probably change. Del.
Hello. I am Del. I play Luca Sobieski, our resident Spartoy, who is a Jack, like a race created by Jack for the specific setting. I am a paladin of redemption for Kaela. I helped redeem the Tomb of Sorrows king, bring him back on the path of light so he wasn't so grumpy about the fact that his life was a little bit of a disaster.
You helped?
You can, it helped. I helped. You can find me at Del Deliriums or Delirium is Delight on any of my handles. I have lots of works in progress, but nothing published yet, so maybe that'll change sometime when I have a brain.
Good luck with that. Very few of us rarely ever have actual functional brains. We just pretend real hard. But don't let Del fool you. Luca just is very humble. Q.
I help. I am Q, Dorian_Black on Twitter. Dorian_Black with a Q instead of a CK on Twitch because they don't like that word there. It's fine. I'm playing Cole Igniades, who is a city dwarf cleric, specifically devoted to Ignia. He's all fire and forge and awkward, but he's just trying his best, just out here trying with new friends, which is weird.
For people who haven't sat with us and watched any of this before, it's important to note that everyone in the setting knows what his last name means. Igniades means he is descended from the goddess Ignia himself. Just so
I still have to have a conversation with him about that. I keep forgetting. No, I did. I did. I mentioned it very offhandedly as we were going into the tomb.
Correct. And we still need to have that conversation.
Night.
Hi everyone, I'm Lion. You can find me at the Lion Knight 42 over on Twitter, or here. I'm the head of Tales from the Table Studios, and consider myself very, very lucky to be able to be the host for this amazing game, and even luckier to be able to join this incredible cast and crew. Tonight am going to be playing Abellis Volturn, who is a let's say a high elf Sorlock. And I won't say anything else because there's not much that the party has had to learn about good old Abellis just yet, except that he has a penchant for butterflies.
Watching you.
Thus.
Watching you.
As you can tell, there are no secrets or oddities in this party. Also, just as I've told my players, I have nothing planned for this evening, so let's see where it goes. That's
not
always
a lie.
Yep.
Not to lie at all.
I'm on duty. It's fine. All right. So we rejoin the party as they march down from the hills to the northeast of town. We can see on the map that is currently up, I believe I guess it's to our right, it'd be to your left watching, that the tomb is northeast of town. They're following the trail back to town. As they travel, the sky is finishing clearing completely, and they actually make it back to the gate of the small walled town without incident. The town has a very old stone wall because it was once the base of an ancient Regan legion and has simply been repurposed over the years to be a town. It's still a fortress town, however. They are hailed from the top of the gate by their good friend Heinrich. Hello. I see you've returned once again.
We have
little time for chat. We have to go to the temple.
All right. Open the gate.
Yeah.
And the gate is opened, and you traverse through it into the town, heading straight down. Not really straight down. There's a little winding and turning, of course, because as a fortress town, as I mentioned before, around the edges near the walls, the the paths and streets tend to be twisty and turny, to make it harder on invaders. But once you get past that, it's mostly open and easy to move around, like a military camp very often is. The High Temple and the main inn are both right near the center of town, very close to the watch captain's house and the rest of that sort of thing. So you head to the temple with the item in question, wrapped in a handkerchief marked with the symbol of Kaela, and further wrapped in the apron, the forge apron of coal, which bears the symbol of Ignia, and then carefully put in a sack, and as little contact as possible has been made with it. The entire time you've been traveling, though, Cole, you could still hear it whispering and prodding at the corners of your mind.
Of course.
And now that you're further from the original tomb, it's not yelling about revenge or anything anymore. It's more talking about how little everything matters. How useless everything has been, how little difference anyone can possibly make. But as you step into the High Temple, it goes quiet. Apparently it does not respond super favorably to holy ground. As a reminder, and perhaps the first description for some people joining us now, this is a Greco-Roman temple, so it is Ionic and Doric columns and beautiful marble statuary and marble bas-relief. But unlike what many people may be expecting, it is also a riot of color because everything is painted as colorfully as possible. We're not talking about bare marble like you'd see in modern classics. This is the original, and everything is painted in color. Luckily, they're very high quality paints, so it doesn't look gaudy. It just looks impressive. But you are met pretty much immediately by the high priestess whom you have spoken to before. And she has a worried look on her face, but also you can tell she's also relieved because, you know, anyone can tell that much of the problem that you already went to deal with has been ameliorated.
Right.
So, you seem worried.
I am. We were able to, and Cole looks over at Luca. We were able to redeem the king.
Oh, my. That is a most
But
impressive feat.
It was something to behold, I promise. Unbelievable, really.
But the crown still remains.
The crown.
Oh yeah, it's a problem. You'll know. You'll know as soon as you. Yeah.
It's quiet now, but it was very chatty on the way here.
A basic picture of her is now in the owlbear. Recall that unlike the grand majority of the people of Rega, who are, you know, a middle to deep brown, she is in fact of almost pure northern stock and is extraordinarily pale skinned.
You happen to have a private chamber.
Of course. Please follow me. And as she heads that way, as you're heading toward the private chamber, you see Vindus Aristides rush into the temple behind you. Wait!
We're going to stop.
Don't take that into... I don't know which room you were going into, but don't take it into the sanctum. She simply waits with an eyebrow raised as he continues to explain. I think I know what it is, and it may be a bit more than you can isolate easily here. I don't know.
Milady, sir, can we discuss this in a private room that isn't the sanctum then, perhaps?
Yes, she says. Yes, of course. If anything, of course, she looks more worried now as she...
At some point, the group of you are going to have to introduce me to all your friends.
This is Vindus.
I'm Vindus Aristides, Professor Emeritus of the College of Rhetoric. You don't look like you've heard my name, and that's interesting.
Oh, he's super interesting, and we can talk about that second
later.
Right. Very well.
Lead on.
She leads you all into a small meeting room near the back of the temple, but not where she was originally going. If you would be so kind and place the item on the table, I can perhaps explain.
Cole is going to take it out of his bag.
Are we sure this is a good idea?
No.
No, it's all a terrible idea as long as this is anywhere on our plane of existence. So we'll just go with the least terrible, which is knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, it's rather the problem is if you don't learn what it is, then you can't deal with it.
Hey, Jack.
Yes.
Vindus seems really interested. Has been this entire time in what we're doing.
Yep.
Can I make an insight check?
Sure.
Especially as Cole is like taking it off of his back, like the bag, and just curious. 1 second.
It's not paranoia when you're carrying an evil artifact.
Huh?
Correct.
Fair. I forgot that I am not a very insighty person. I am not wise.
You have other things that make you wonderful.
I do. It's like a 13. Hold on. That's a 14. Like a whole point better.
Well, he doesn't seem to be trying to hide anything. He is actually moving so that he is further away from Cole as Cole brings the item out. He's not interested in acquiring it.
That is reassuring, actually.
Makes me feel good.
Fair.
So Cole will set the bundle on the table and unfold the apron and then the scarf to show the crown.
Luca is on guard to see in the event that anybody seems like they are reaching for it, they are going to interpose.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just watching to see if I need to read somebody's brain to see if they're getting broken.
I mean, that's reasonable, right?
Abellus is going to take a step back. Not a large one, just create a touch of distance.
It's a smart move you've made there, friend.
So, He, as I said, he looks, if anything, more worried than she does as the black iron crown is laid on the table. And he says in a quiet voice that nonetheless reverberates in the room, 7 crowns of sorrow made he there, one for acedia, the sin of despair, one made for avarice, the sin of greed, one for the glutton who takes more than he needs, one for wrath, the sin of aimless rage, one for pride, sin of noble and sage, one made for lust, sin of power, not joy, and the last made for envy that yearns to destroy. And
So 1 of 7.
yes.
Very catchy.
And this would be the crown of despair, the crown of acedia.
Sorrow. Sorrow.
They're all the crowns of sorrow, is the thing.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
Go ahead.
No.
What do we do with it?
I'm not sure. I'm going to have to find out.
You're not sure of something?
Is he often sure of things?
Oh yes, he's very happy he knows things.
No offense, sir. And then he turns back to the party. Confidence or arrogance?
Confident.
Well-earned arrogance.
Either is...
I like that description, Luca. Thank you.
Either is very reassuring.
I've only ever heard the one rhyme, you see. I'm not even sure who it was that made it, although it's possible it might have been the Scolomancer. But if so, why? I don't know that. I don't know how to destroy it. I don't know. Perhaps we can contain it for a short period of time. It's just I wanted to make sure we were aware of just how dangerous it might be before we tried. And Mother Anastasia nods understandingly at that.
It is currently quiet. It was trying to take me over on the way here. But as soon as we stepped onto the holy ground, it stopped.
Well, that's a good sign.
If we take it to one of the bigger temples, perhaps it can be more contained until we find a way. But at the same time, bringing it around more people seems more dangerous.
That does seem to be the case.
Especially the sort of people you'd find in the big cities at a big temple. You see, a high priestess here is unlikely to have succumbed to ambition, yes?
Yes. Less likely to have corruption. More pure. I do not like the temples in the large cities.
I'm not saying that Cole is either right or wrong, but I am saying, can we afford to take the risk? Yes.
So this isn't an enchanted item. This is like an artifact. This is a thing that's been like made or touched heavily by a god, right?
Not necessarily a god, but something
Godly.
Something of
Divine
near godlike power. Some artifacts are created or touched by demon lords, devil princes.
Messed up planes.
A
Okay.
few of the truly powerful entities that are on the verge of becoming gods.
So maybe this is just my little paranoid halfling brain, but hear me out. If it's that level of thing. What if it's quiet, not because it stopped working, but because it's, working towards desecrating the place instead of the person? What if holding it in a temple is kind of maybe a bad idea if we don't have something of equivalence to?
Well, in a worst case
I don't know.
scenario,
I'm being paranoid. I'm just saying that's my thought process here.
In a worst case scenario, if it were to desecrate this place, perhaps the gods would take it as a personal slight and do something about it. Not that I would cross my fingers, but it's possible. Not the worst downside.
You wouldn't cross your fingers even though you witnessed Kayla earlier.
I witnessed a devout follower of Kayla wield their faith in an incredibly impossible and impressive way. I mean, slight. But, the gods will do what they will, no? And what they won't.
It seems until a mortal lasts, the gods do not get off their couches.
Ah, you understand. Yes, they really will only act when they feel they need to, and what better way to incentivize them than to let a place built to feed their confidence.
Your statement seems bitter and pointed.
I think you may have a different understanding of the gods than I do, says Mother Anastasia.
I think that is very likely, yes.
You know how some people have little chips on their shoulders about things? He's got the whole masonry rubble pile. And again, we can get into that.
It's not altogether inaccurate.
Yes, Del.
In this temple, I still have my gift, right? My gift of sight?
No.
No.
The being able to see souls and determine whether they're still present, that was a temporary boon.
Boo. But fair. I get it. It's fine. However, I saw our new companion's dual soul issue.
Mm-hmm.
Just curious, does it, and this is completely as far as how Lion wants to handle this, would it be an insight to see the way that he's acting? Does it seem like a personal slight?
I don't think you need to roll anything for that. I think it's pretty obvious that it's
personal.
It's a personal slight. Now what that could mean could vary pretty hard, I think, right? From well, I prayed to the gods a bunch and they never did anything for me, to more than that. But it's definitely something that they take personal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just know that they're in a compromising position. And Luke is a bit curious. Maybe we can fix this too.
While I can understand wanting to perhaps take it somewhere larger or more secure, no offense, Madam Anastasia, but that would mean we'd have to get it there.
Yes, that would also be quite difficult, wouldn't it? You'd be trailed the whole way.
Correct. And
now that I know what sort of thing we may be dealing with, we simply reinforce wards around it and call blessings on it several times a day, so that if it is desecrating, well, we are consecrating more quickly than it can desecrate.
Good.
Does anyone know what this crown does?
Outside of likely whisper lies?
Bendis.
No.
That's not a bad way to put it. I was going to the assumption it just made you very depressed.
Yes, obviously it has an effect on the emotion, right? But you already had to have that emotion to empower it. Or it empowered you and your emotion of that kind, something like that. Again, there's not a lot known about these. But look at Scoudus. What was Scoudus?
He was someone plagued by sadness.
He was grieving.
Right. But what had he become? I'm literally actually asking you because I didn't get to see.
Oh. It was
dead.
Yes, but a race, a ghost of a kind.
Very nasty.
Like a super strong specter, essentially. Like a dire specter. I don't know how to
Perhaps
phrase it at the moment.
Perhaps it enhances whatever power you already have. Takes it to an extreme.
Perhaps.
Maybe even helps with the transformation. Again, speculation, because we don't know. I'm just afraid that if one is in play, that the other ones will be too.
It would be more than likely.
Well, I suppose that depends on what in play means, doesn't it? From what I understand it, that place was not particularly busy for quite some time, yes?
And then it suddenly became so.
So was it the first to start, or did one of the others start first? If they are connected.
There's the first in the rhyme.
Yes, it's the first in the rhyme. Yes, Florenta.
Okay, so Florenta's going to say, Master Aristides, is it possible that someone would know more about this crown than you? But there are not many people who know more than you. So
It's
you
certainly
said
possible.
someone called the Scolomancer might know?
I mean, probably.
Would he have
I don't
books
know if
or
it's a good
something we
idea.
could steal?
Right
No.
to theft, are you?
The Scolomancer is... How to put this? I realize that this isn't something that's often talked about, so I can't fault you. The Scolomancer is also known as Belbaidas. Perhaps you've heard of the ruby heart of Belbaidas, this ancient fairy tale about a sorcerer who can't be killed because he keeps his life in a ruby and he keeps the ruby hidden away.
Question. Is that something I would be able to roll like a history check on personally? Or is that not?
Possibly, yes.
Isn't that just a lich?
That's what I was thinking.
Not a lich.
It's a 10.
The lich.
Which
As
is
far as I'm aware, you got a total of a 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you got no clue.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, he is the oldest unliving thing on the planet.
Yes, and that is interesting. I'm not trying to kill him. This is obviously impossible, as you have stated. I just want to steal from him.
Much more feasible.
First, we have to figure out where the Kogion, the sacred mountain he hides under, is. Now, it is somewhere in Scaria, we're fairly certain, but where? And then, but he may be the one who made these things. In which case, he would definitely know the most about them. Yes.
So, for anyone here who knows more about magic than I do, which is probably everybody, would it be a bad idea for a diviner to try and scry one of these things?
Yeah.
I'm afraid so.
I can just say yes right off the bat. I don't have to think about that. That's
basically.
I mean, you might be insightful, but it probably would be really threatening and unhealthy for you.
Not me. I can't do that. That's not. I can hit things with a hammer. I am not in the ways of magic.
That thing, we don't know what it's capable of, and one of the problems is, as I'm sure you've already figured out, you can't use magic to find out what it's capable of, because some of the older and more potent items defend themselves from such things.
Yes, and it did. It was very frustrating.
Indeed.
But here, look. And he points, without touching it, he points at one of the prongs. See that tiny symbol on each of the prongs around the outside?
Mm-hmm.
That's the symbol for acedia, or despair, in the language of the nation that was here before King Scoudus's nation was here.
So we need a
Which is
historian.
how I suppose, but there's not a lot of historians that I know of that have a deeper understanding of the history than I. I'm not saying there isn't one. I'm not 100% certain where to look.
How far back does your history go?
This particular case, this is 5,000 years.
Interesting.
The history of the world, of course, goes back further than that, to the First Empire, whose name we have forgotten, but we don't know exactly how far back it goes, because a number of extraordinarily destructive things happened very early on, including the battles between the gods and Interitus and etc. Much was lost.
Nasty thing, that.
I think I need to reach out to some of my order. I think if we brought some other paladins of redemption here, in the event that somebody was corrupted, if this is where we are to keep the crown, then while we go out and search for information, should the rest of you choose to stay on this path, I know that I am.
Mm-hmm.
Then at the very least, someone along my path can help redeem them potentially the way that I did.
Calling for help from the priesthoods and paladin orders might not be a bad idea in general. With this here, we're going to become the focus of a number of things.
Likely.
And it's about that time that you all notice that the air has become chill again. The cold air coming in from the door from outside, except it's colder than it was before. And dimly through the walls, you hear a loud yell of "Dragon!" and men running in all directions.
Oh, things are getting interesting.
That is a word for it.
Okay, so I was slightly wrong about what it was doing, but I was aiming in the right direction.
Where were you? Was dragons where you were aiming? Really?
I said I was doing something. I said I was doing something, and I'm gonna be aiming at dragons now.
Shield hammer running outside.
I've
never made a friend with a dragon before.
They're just running face first into the dragon, aren't they?
Yes.
Have you met us? Oh wait, you just met us. Well, hello.
Sometimes the luck people have.
Indus also charges out with you.
Mm-hmm.
The High Priestess does not, because she's busy, already busy casting wards and blessings.
Thank goodness.
I was actually about to say I will stop myself from, like, Luca will start running for a second and then be like, turn back around. Do you need anything from me before I go?
No, go.
Bellis is going to turn and very slowly begin making his way out there as well. And as he does, there are these small butterflies that seem to sort of rise off of him and then sort of crack and fall to pieces and sprinkle down over him. I'm going to take two of my warlock spell slots and convert them into sorcery points.
Yeah. Who's the first out the door?
Cole.
Thought you might be. This is just a basic. Whoa, that's a lot smaller. Hang on. So this is actually a as soon as I get this to actually work. There we go. This is just a general representation of the town. There we go. You're going to have to zoom in quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, buddy.
it's a bigger map than I thought it was. My apologies.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have it pulled up on my phone.
Right.
Yeah, you may not be able to. There's not a lot I can do about that.
I'm just gonna stay here. I'm just gonna stay right here. We're all right. So somebody said dragon. Where?
Well, you make it out right, and you look up, and all you see is a shadow on the ground continuing away, like it just passed over. But you see over in front of you, about 50 feet away, a group of 5 or 6 men who were frozen solid.
Oh no.
And the ground is already covered in snow, despite the fact that it's spring. And it's cold. And it's cloudy.
Yeah, I don't love any of this, actually.
Yeah, I thought you might not.
Okay.
Where's my wife?
And then the ice cracks. And the bodies fall to the ground.
No. Like in pieces or like.
Yeah.
Or like.
Yeah, in pieces. And rising from the pieces is this visual.
Oh no.
Oh no.
0 out of 0. 0 out of 0 stars dislike.
So they look
Would not
like
do again.
shadows, but they look like shadows that have been somehow frozen.
Bruh.
You're so rude. Go away. I do like that imagery, though. That's great.
Sure. Like visually stunning. Love it. 10 out of 10. In character, hate it so much, actually.
Hold on a second. Justina, I think, were you raising your hand?
Yes, I was.
Thank you.
As everyone was heading out, I was going to ask if I could hide in the confusion.
Which confusion would you like to hide in? You
Oh, just any of it.
Yeah, you can entirely hide behind like one of those pillars that's near the door.
Sure. And I got a 23 for my stealth.
Nice.
All right.
So.
Where's my wife? Nowhere to be seen, as per usual, so I know that
Oh,
she's
that means
safe.
she's fine.
Right.
Roll initiatives, please.
Yeah.
Just
As
like
we
If you see me, I'm hurt.
Just like always,
Yeah,
always.
if we see her,
if you
there's
don't
something wrong.
if you don't see Florenta's body, she's fine.
All right, so go ahead and roll initiative for me, people.
Ooh.
Sweet. We're not dead last, guys. We're not dead last. Unless everybody rolls really well.
Not me.
16.
19.
Okay.
17.
Very nice.
14.
All right, so
10.
Luke is
Nice.
on a 14. Cole was on a what?
17.
Very good. Oldie,
16.
Abolus,
10.
Florenta.
You were the last one out the door.
Yeah, it works
19.
out.
It only makes sense.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
what was
yeah.
that, Florenta?
19.
Thank you.
No problem.
And of course, Kerberos stayed out of town.
Yeah. Like a good boy.
We gotta fix that. I missed it. My little buddy Spot.
We'll just get him a nice hat.
He deserves like a nice spa treatment and good brushies and everything.
We definitely got to bathe him before we let him in the city.
Well, that's why I'm saying he needs a good spa treatment, brushies, and everything.
So, Florenta, unsurprisingly, you are the first one to act. You have already moved forward.
So
you are about 80 feet from the closest one of these frozen shadows.
Okay. Are they in my bow shot range?
Yes, but you would be shooting at disadvantage because you're just out of short range for a short bow.
Okay.
If you could move up 20 feet and then shoot.
Yeah. I mean, what do I have to do to accomplish that?
The problem is at that point, you'll no longer be hidden because there's no cover within 20 feet.
Right.
Are there supposed to be tokens on the owlbear map?
Yes. There are. They're really tiny. Look over at the big building in the far left and just expand it. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it possible to
the little 6 dom? It looks like a little 6 domino.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, I found it.
Is it possible to hold my action until they get into range?
It absolutely is.
Excellent. Then I will do that.
All right, cool. You are holding your action. All right, and the first one of them goes next. Cole, you will be on deck after the shadow.
Okay.
And the shadow can only move so far. And that's as far as it can move. You may take your shot if you like, Florenta.
Yes, and that's with advantage, correct?
It is, because it still does not know you are there.
Okay, so checking my bow. That is a 23.
That will definitely hit.
And then for the bow itself, it got 9, and my sneak attack was another 12.
So that's 21 points of damage, and it is magical, so it is fully damaged.
Yay.
You know, the arrow passes through it without obstruction, but you watch as the shadows of it are disrupted and some of the frozen bits kind of crack and shatter into the air and dissipate. It is important to note there is no direct sunlight. It has gotten quite dim because of the re-overclouding.
Gotcha.
All right, Cole.
Alrighty. Hello. I'm going to run forward.
You're going to engage the closest one?
Yes.
Okay.
And as I do, eyes flare to life with fire. My hair seems to dance more animatedly. And as I'm moving, I am speaking primordial. And it seems like even my throat is glowing as I speak the words to summon my spirit guardians.
Very nice.
Fucking go.
Love it.
What's the radius on that again? Is that
15 feet?
That's what I thought.
15-foot radius, yep.
Let me make sure how far that is so I know when they get in it. Cool. All right. And is that a full action?
That is in fact a full action, yes.
Very good. That's what I thought. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Then we are moving to the next person. It is Oldie and then Luca's on deck.
Question for you: is the dragon still? I mean, do I see the dragon still around with my pass?
You do not. It looks like it swooped by, and all
then
you saw was
took
its
off.
shadow disappearing in the distance. It swooped by, breathed on these guys, and this is what happened.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to cast my new spell, conjure some critters, and going to use the giant vulture template. But Oldie sings a little song about Volpos as a rabbit dancing through the fields and then leaping off a cliff and soaring into the sky. And two large-sized, if you could put tokens on the map for me. Oh, wait, I can do a little token here. Two large-sized, I got to measure real quick, but two large-sized rabbits with wings appear in the area. And yeah, they're just kind of, they're large rabbits with wings to sort of appear from the ether, flying in the sky near Cole there.
What's the range on your conjure animals?
60 feet.
Very good.
Just measured that out. Yep.
Good job. They are within the 60 feet. And then they get to immediately act. So.
Okay. And so in that case, one will fly around here. Floop, 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 floop. Well, not quite so little flying rabbit. And he will attack with a +4. So let's see his attack roll. Multi-attack. With multi-attack, do you roll once or do you roll for each attack?
You roll for each individual attack.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be clear on. And so the first one almost certainly does not hit at a 10, and the second one is a natural 20.
Nice.
Very good. Roll that critical damage.
So that
you're right.
So
the 10
it tries snapping with its little rabbit teeth and misses, but then it leans back, fluttering in the air, and bunny kicks viciously. And then you roll.
Critical bunny kick.
Is this like a
critical bunny kick? 11 + 7 is 18. +2 twice is 22 damage slashing.
All right. That unfortunately, the damage from that critter does not count as magical, but it's still sufficient to destroy the frozen shadow, which shatters under its rapidly kicking bunny feet.
Nice. Is this like a Wolpertinger, right? Wolpertinger, the does it have little antlers? Love it.
You're putting antlers on it, Rev? Nice. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah, the rabbit being one of the holy animals of Volpos, along with the fox. All right. So I believe it is Luca's turn now. No, you have another bunny.
You're muted.
It's just going to flutter around and hold its action if any of them come up to it.
Okay. All right. In that case, it is in fact Luca's turn.
Hello. So I'm going to, they look like the specters from the tomb, right?
No, they look like they're made more, less of spiritual energy and more clearly of shadow. They look like frozen, literal shadows. You can see them sort of moving across the ground more than you can where they are, that kind of thing.
Okay. I lost my magic sight, so this makes life a little bit more difficult. But... Excuse you? Because there's a thing I'm going to do first. They're not close enough for me to spite. I had to go closer first, so I'm going to move my happy behind up near my very eager dwarven friend.
Actually, hang on. Let me check the distance on that. You might not be able to make it all the way to him. Okay. Yeah, no, your speed is 30 feet. He started out further ahead. So you make it to about there unless you choose to dash.
I will. If I dash, I can still use an action, right?
No.
No. Okay. Then just go my movement because I want to cast Divine Favor. So essentially as they're walking, they just kind of tap their breastplate over the symbol of Kayla. Wait for that lovely little white glow to wash over them as they step forward. Again, I am thrown into battle. Again, I do not want to, but here I am. Please try not to harm the villagers, because then I will have no choice.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm giving them an option.
All right. There's a shadow, and then the next one after that is Abelis is up. The shadow moves right up to the bunny.
Bunny.
Not the bunny.
Not the bunny.
What's the bunny's armor class, Rev?
The bunny's armor class is only a 10.
All right. The bunny is struck for 10 necrotic damage and 4 cold damage.
Yikes.
Ouch. Wow. Okay, it is bloodied. It's looking ragged.
And has its strength reduced by 2 points.
Oh.
No, sir.
You had a reaction, technically.
Oh, yeah, I readied my action, so I'm definitely, attacking back.
Yeah, before that strength goes down, bud.
Yeah.
So, on its attack roll, let's give her a spin. See what happens. Okay, so the first one is +4, AC of 20, and the second one is an 11.
The first one hits.
All right. It chomps down with its large-sized bunny face and chews it very, very well. I hope we roll those damage dice.
The bunny goes first, right? Since it had a readied action.
Yeah, technically it will preempt the attack of the shadow.
Like I said,
so before the strength goes down?
Damage,
Correct.
Yeah, because it triggers and then it resolves before the attack resolves.
10 piercing damage.
Mm-hmm. How much?
10 piercing.
Okay. Very cool. That is reduced to 5. But it still counts for something. I will point out that both bunnies at this point have taken an additional 4 points of damage from touching it or hitting it with a melee attack.
Good to know. All right.
Abelis.
Well, upon seeing this happen, Abelis first turns towards Oldie and goes, "Is this what I should come to expect from you all? Just running headfirst into all sorts of danger. I mean, I suppose it does make sense it's how you found me, but..."
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we all do it for different reasons. I mean, don't ask me my reasons because I'm not sure I know mine. But yes, this is what we do, and it's great and it's awesome. And you're going to be a best friend too. You'll learn. The friendship will learn you.
Learn to walk face first into death. Good, good. All right. Well, and then he just sort of throws his hands back, and as he thrusts them forward, I would like to spend one of my meta magic, my sorcery points rather, to use Quicken spell. So I'm going to cast Eldritch Blast as a bonus action. At level 5, I get 2 blasts. They're both going to be targeting the one that attacked the rabbit.
Very good.
First one is 24. The second is 21.
Both of those hit, and you are well within range.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Eldritch Blast has all the range.
120. Yeah, 120.
120 to start with, and you can get it up to 600 if you cheat.
Yeah, yeah.
Except it's not really cheating because it's built right in.
Yeah.
I was going to say, not cheating. Come on now.
Okay, so both are going to do 14 points of force damage. And... What?
The AO.
And I believe...
So that's a total of 28, right?
Well, yes, yeah. That's a total of 28.
Right.
And I also am going to push it 10 feet away.
Right. I mean, the pushing it 10 feet away stops mattering after the second Eldritch Blast slams into it, but its pieces get moved 10 feet away as it dissipates.
Oh, I like that. I feel like after it hits, the pieces sort of fragment into like little ice butterflies that begin trying to like flap away and just sort of fall apart and melt into shadow, if that's...
I'll allow it.
Awesome. And then I am going to do the same thing as my standard action. I'm going to just thrust my other hand forward and blast off another pair of Eldritch Blasts at
the next nearest one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you do.
And that is, by the way, at your extreme range. Because you only have a 120 feet right now.
Yes.
It is 105 feet to it.
Ooh. Okay. That's a 20, not on the die. It's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. All right, that hits.
And that is a 20 on the die.
Hey.
Nice.
So another one's dead.
Probably.
So are we doing...
Once you've got Agonizing Blast and you're hitting twice, yeah, it tends to be pretty deadly.
Yeah. Are we doing double damage, double dice?
Double dice.
Okay, cool. So the first one is only 6 points of damage.
Okay.
But the second one, 23 points of damage.
Shut up.
Yeah. So yet another frozen shadow turns into sparkling butterflies and dissipates.
Well, it's a good thing that you have me then, isn't it? And I'm done after that.
It's true. All right. Get rid of that one. And that one. There's only 3 of them left.
Oh no.
All right.
Well, oops. Everything's fine.
I thought I only attacked the specters. Apparently, I also attacked Q. I'm sorry, Q.
Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. It happens.
It's
all
a
right.
repelling blast is what it is.
Right?
Eldritch Blast right through the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So they pretty much all do this thing.
Uh-oh.
And they can't quite get to Q. Now, the interesting thing about that is 2 interesting effects happen. All of them need to make wisdom saves.
Yes, please do.
Okay, no, the third one doesn't. The 2 closest ones do.
Okay.
One of them made it, the other one didn't. What are my damage totals?
Let's see.
Should be what, 3d8 radiant?
3d8. Thank you. I was fairly certain it was 3.
I feel like they're all going to be dead before I get there.
They might be.
I won't even have to fight.
Oh, wow. Oh no. Okay, so the one who didn't save took 20 points of radiant damage.
Okay, so
No.
that becomes 40.
And the one who saved takes, I'm assuming half of that, so 10, so 20.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the one that did not save is an X frozen shadow.
Cool bean.
And the one that did save is just barely hanging on. It is a mass of cracks and burned shadow held together by melting ice.
Lovely. So my spirit guardians are just like a bunch of effectively Igniades ancestors.
Right.
Oh, that's so cool.
All of the different spears
bunch
with
of
dwarves
beautiful
flames. Yeah.
Yep. Bunch of beautiful celestial flame dwarves.
As a real life dwarf, that makes me very happy.
We're all dwarf fans here,
Glorious
baby.
beard.
All right. Sweet. Now, since they entered, that happened before they actually got to do their attack. So only one of them attacks the other bunny.
Poor bunny.
AC 10.
But it rolled a 20.
Oh,
Bunny,
So
no.
it crit.
goodbye, Bun Bun.
Bunny, no.
Oh, poor Bun Bun.
Yep. So it being a crit, I'm actually rolling it.
Slow roll.
So it took 19.
This already sounds like a lot.
Yeah, no, it is a lot. Uh, 19 necrotic and 9 cold.
Yep, that wipes out its HP. It gets struck and rolls over and starts laughing like it heard the funniest joke, and then fades back the same way.
Hate
Luckily, it does not leave a corner.
that. Oh, no, I hate that a lot, actually.
Yeah. Oof.
Cool. Cool.
Good way to go. With a smile.
Yeah.
And the laugh.
And
the
this
cackle.
final one was not within range, and it attacks the other bunny. And we're looking at a 23, which I believe hits.
Yeah. I gotta kill these bunnies, man.
And that does a total of 10 necrotic and 4 cold.
That also wipes that one out.
Because it was already damaged.
And that one, as it fades away, just, with its fading, insubstantial paws, is clawing and screaming vengeance.
I'm not sure that's better. I don't know.
No, I dig it.
I'm trying to envision
I
what the
might
sound.
have a little reaction.
Have you ever heard a rabbit scream?
I've heard it. Don't like it. Don't care.
It's bad.
But I'm trying to imagine specifically like a scream of vengeance. Because this isn't like a pain scream, right? This is just, I'm going to fucking
Have you watched
get you.
the old cartoon version of Watership Down?
Yes.
Oh, God.
The sounds they're making when they're attacking each other.
Fair.
Yes,
Cool.
Justina.
Could we just skip the bunny screaming? Thanks.
Very good.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's fair.
Yep.
Understood. All right, Florenta, you are up next.
Okay.
And then Cole is on deck.
All right. So, which is the healthiest looking shadow creature?
The one furthest away from Cole.
Okay. Is it in my range?
It certainly seems to be.
right.
Yep, it's at 50 feet, so it's just barely within normal range.
Okay. Oof. Okay. So that is second. So that is a 22.
That will hit.
Heck yeah.
Okay. And so the bow itself does 9 damage.
Mhm.
Actually, sorry, I rolled the wrong thing. So it actually does 10 damage, then the 3d6, and an additional 15 damage.
So
from
for a
my
total
sneak
of
attack.
24.
Yes,
Y'all.
that's correct.
That
Yeah.
is, your arrow slams into it in a what if it had a body would be a very sensitive spot. It doubles over its groin and shatters into pieces as it fades into the ground.
No wifey. Yay.
Beautiful.
And then it is Cole's turn, and Oldie is right behind him.
Cool. There's only one right here.
Yep.
Cool beans. I'm gonna hit it
Yeah, I thought you might
with my hammer.
with your fancy stone forge hammer.
Yeah. Which I got a 19 on the die, plus 22, 23, 25.
Definitely hits it.
Cool beans. And this one has already taken damage, yes?
Oh yeah, this one got hurt by your radiance.
Heck yeah. Okay, cool. That is 7, 10 points of damage.
That is more than sufficient to finish the creature off.
Heck yeah.
In a
I'm
flash of
assuming-
light, it is burned away.
Nice. I'm assuming I take damage because I hit it with a melee.
You take 4 cold.
Gotcha. No problem. Is
That
that's all of it?
is all the creatures. Yep.
I mean, there's still a dragon somewhere.
Somewhere. But,
Can we hear it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I looked good for it, Luca. It swung by and did this and then took off.
I'm going to go and look around the town, make sure that everybody's okay.
Other than the 6 people whose bodies turned to ice and produced the frozen shadows, yes.
But before you walk off,
Luckily, those were at least guardsmen. Like, they had some idea what they were in for. They weren't.
Right, no civilians.
Right.
We are definitely going to have a conversation because you heard dragon and decided the best course of action was to just run out to meet the dragon for tea.
Well, I
Would
mean,
you prefer to die inside of a building?
I mean, if we don't, who will?
I mean, it's not snowing inside, is it?
Yeah,
But
but
then
Florenta?
quickly there could-
Florenta?
Florenta, I just want to appear next to Luca and say, hey, you go outside, shoot a dragon. It's a typical day.
Like what, a Tuesday?
I think so.
Pretty much.
Times
So
have
Vindus-
changed.
Vindus comes back around one of the corners of the buildings, breathing hard. Apparently, he took off running, chasing the direction the dragon went.
Mhm.
Does he seem okay?
He looks irritated, but he does not seem harmed.
Cole, you were trying to add something, I think? Or did you just have a
It
thought?
might not be snowing inside, but it could be just as likely that there would not be an inside for you to hide it. And
Quite likely.
whether you
Especially
like
since-
it or not. Sorry. We were granted blessings by the gods. So it is our duty to use those gifts.
For all you know, I could be getting paid.
Are you?
Actually, yeah.
Florenta produces papers.
Well, that perhaps is the best deal I've ever seen anyone make with the gods. Very impressive.
No, I made it with the gods here. The gods, I leave them to my spouse here.
Is that the real thing? Are we still going with that?
Luca looks to Oldie. Did he? I know he said not to make a big deal out of it, but now he's making a big deal out of it.
I'm not making a big. No, I'm trying to understand. I was doing a spell to make sure that our friend didn't die, and then you actually proposed. I'm just. Vindus, I'm sorry. You were saying something.
Yes, I tried to follow the dragon and I tried to see what it was doing. Apparently, it literally just flew by, killed a few of our men, and took off again. The problem is, it must have established a lair near here somewhere because we're suffering from its natural processes. It's not winter here, as you know, it's spring, but here we are in winter, which means however powerful the dragon is, which I didn't get a good look at, determines how far away its lair has to be.
You said this is its natural processes. This is snow and not some sort of dragon excretion, is it?
Correct. This is snow.
Oh, good.
All that I saw of the thing was that it was a white dragon.
But I will assume, based on what we've said in the last few minutes, that in a short amount of time we will likely find ourselves standing knee-deep in dragon shit, no?
I don't know if you know about my people, but the answer is probably yes, at least as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, yes, but it's not really that much to worry about, as most dragon droppings are in fact metal and often mistaken for the horde.
It doesn't change that we will likely be standing in it one way or the other.
Quite possibly.
Easier to clean, though.
We might. You don't have to come if you don't want to, but you are certainly welcome to.
Everything organic that a dragon eats is digested completely.
I will point out, just for the record, I did not hide throughout this. And while I am well aware that I could just, walk off, I can't really walk away from something quite so interesting now, can I? What sort of bore would that make me?
See, it's much too fun to just hide away.
You'll get used to it. It's fine.
I think we should go back to speak with Sister Anastasia.
Yeah.
Only so.
And then breakfast.
I want to find Heinrich. Because
he's at the wall.
Because he's going to know who the most familiar ranger or hunter around here is, and that's probably who we need to talk to if we want to find where a dragon is pooping and sleeping.
Or the captain might. I don't know if it'd be okay to interrupt Heinrich while he's on duty.
We should also speak to the captain. We should update him on what happens.
So do you want to stop by the temple, then talk to the captain? Like we just all go together? Okay. Or Florenta?
Justina?
Florenta would like to peel away from the group and see if she can find out the names of the guards who were killed and give most of her treasure to their families.
Okay.
You know, what she got from the tomb and what she's going to get from the town. Because I don't need the money.
Legit. That's not why you steal things.
No. However,
when I stole it, it's mine, and this is like pocket change now because I'm rich.
Going to the when we get to the temple, one of the things I do want to address is in fact the guards, because apparently we think alike. Was to make sure that they to see if they need help with like proper burial ceremonies. I know that they more than likely have it because it's a small town where they are continuously like attacked. So they more than likely have their rituals
and
down
pat. They have a dedicated priest who is their funeral priest. You met him already, Brother Theodore.
But you know, offering aid to see like if because no, I did go around town and he said nobody else was harmed outside of them. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's just going to be difficult to pick up all the pieces of the people to bury them.
One last thing, Florenta wants to make sure that it is a secret she's giving away this money.
Of course.
Right. So giving it to somebody to give in her name, sort of.
Yes.
Not even in her name.
Are you kidding me? I'm assuming, I'm personally at least, Oldius is just going to assume that Florenta is still around and just doing the Florenta thing. Like I said, unless I see Florenta's body on the ground, I assume she's around and okay, unless she's telling us she's going somewhere.
No, that's legit. All right, so you head back in and what? She's back in that back room chanting, and she's gotten 3 more priests into the room, and they're also chanting.
Gotcha.
Are they doing okay?
They seem to be.
Okay.
There's holy water sprinklers and incense and all kinds of things going on in that room. They're like, we're pretty focused. And
you said there were 3, so I'm gonna cast aid on them just in case. Just like give them my blessing as they're going. Yeah.
Very good.
I will ask Oldie if they're okay to, if they're willing to scan the top of their thoughts. Because if any of them ring as I'm giving way, I just kind of want a hint of it, if Oldie's willing to.
I can do that.
On second, I don't, but it's also you using a spell slot.
Yeah,
so.
no, I'm gonna wait until. Let's wait patiently for her to acknowledge us, and then I'll ask her if it's okay if I check in or if they have somebody check in.
Sure.
It takes a little while, but she does eventually, turn, and you see her give the others an eye that says, all right, you keep doing this, I'll talk to them, sort of thing. Yes, is this, there was a dragon? What exactly happened?
It blew one of its blasts, hit a half dozen of the town guard, unfortunately, and turned them into ice shadows. Their bodies fell apart, and the ice shadows arose from them.
That's not normal.
Yeah, super bad.
What I mean is that's not normally what happens when a dragon breathes on you. The ice part, yes.
Well, I mean, dragons do magic, and that's making minor undead, as I understand it, is not particularly advanced.
That's true. That's true.
So, yeah, the combination is deeply unnerving.
It is most unfortunate. What else can I help you with?
Question for you. Do you have somebody periodically checking in on the workers to scan surface thoughts and make sure it's not doing a thing?
Not exactly, but yes, we are checking for corruption regularly. It's a slightly different method.
Equivalents are fine. I just wanted to make sure you didn't.
We have a less invasive way to double check such things.
Oh, most excellent. And my other question is, we're going to go talk to the captain, but would you happen to know of any particularly reputable hunter or ranger within town who might be able to assist us with finding this dragon's lair?
You think it's nearby?
Yes, Professor Vindus seems very sure it is, has a nearby lair, and it is clearly, we resolved the graveyard, but there's still an impact on the climate here, which he believes is related to the presence and activity of this nearby dragon.
Oh, the cold isn't just from its breath. I haven't been outside.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a little more wintry than it should be.
It's claimed the area.
Yes, that means it's not just a dragon, of course. It's
a powerful one. Queen?
Yes. You know that the majority of dragons we encounter are male. Right? And the males range a good distance and they capture people, bring them back as food. They capture food, they capture treasure. They bring it back to the female. The female is the one who has the established hoard and lair. She normally has a number of males working for her.
Gosh.
Maybe
Okay.
she's nesting.
Or maybe she's starting to look for a nest.
Well, she has to have established one for her to affect the environment this way.
So, yeah, probably actively nesting.
Probably.
Which means she'll be if she's decided to nest here, it means she'll be searching for more food and more treasure, which means everyone in the region is in danger.
Well, that is a problem, isn't it?
So
you're asking us, why do we need to go and run out into the dragon? This is why. This is why. But maybe we can convince it to be our friend. Right, Luke?
Vindus is still outside, by the way. He seems to be... When you went into the temple, he wandered off to possibly investigate, the impact areas and where the breath hit and things like that.
I'm just under the constant assumption that he wants to not be near the crown, which I get. I also don't want to be near it. So...
Yeah, he has a very Gandalf response to the crown. Do not tempt me with that. It's a bad thing to get close to me. I'm a high level bard. We should not do that thing.
So we should go to the captain then.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to make sure that we have enough information before we go off running after dragons.
It does tend to work out better if you know what you're getting yourself into, yes.
But it could be more fun if we don't.
There is a important place upon the scale where fun and living balance, and were you to tip one too far in the wrong direction, well, unfortunate results.
If you're not going to live, if you're going to live, you got to live a little.
Yes, but you have to be living to live. Trust me, I am very well aware.
So, as you're having this discussion and you're heading toward the captain of the guard, Boris, if you'll recall, that is where we will take our break.
I would like to do one thing very quickly before we break.
Very well.
As we are leaving the temple, before we do, Abelis is going to let the rest of the party sort of take the lead, and very quickly he's just going to turn back towards she was the priestess.
High priestess, yes.
And he's going to put his hand out, and assuming she takes it, he will rest his other atop it, and just look at her for a moment and go, "You are doing an important service here. It is remembered. Stay strong." And I would like to cast guidance just to sort of bolster her.
Okay.
Just making sure the rest of the party is already sort of...
Her response to that is a kind of a little quirked smile and... You'll find the right path to forgiveness, I promise.
We'll see. Don't go telling anyone.
Tell anyone what?
Good. And then he's just going to sort of pivot with a flourish and go to catch up.
Lion, you look at me in my face. You look at me in my face? Watch me.
And we are going to break.
Yeah. We're going to take 15. We'll be back. Don't go somewhere. Go to the bathroom, get some snacks, get some drinks, stretch, because sitting down for this long is not okay. But we'll be back.
Break, baby.
Yeah, we'll be back in 15. See you later.
BRB.
Bye. Oh.
back.
Welcome back. We are back from break on Successor States of Rega, the Shadow of the Dragon. Our heroes have seen only the shadow of the dragon pass over the town and turn 6 of the guardsmen into ice cubes that then shattered and became frozen shadows that they had to dispatch before they could harm the townsfolk. Then they returned inside the temple to speak to the priestess, and now they're heading to speak to the captain of the town guard.
So
Yes,
may I rejoin the party as they are walking to the captain?
You absolutely may.
Perfect.
And I want to sidle up to Cole and say, Cole, would it be possible for you to make a copy of the crown?
Like an actual copy?
A false copy. Just something that looks like it.
Oh, yes. Not a problem.
Good.
Do you need me to do that? You need me to do that right now?
Go do whatever you were going to do and then make the crown. Yes.
I'm sorry.
We were going to...
Why?
If you want information, what you do is you offer something people want to buy, and whoever comes to try to buy it, they will tell you who they are.
I don't think it's a bad idea, but I do feel the need to point out one thing. Just as a thought, take it as you will. I have found in my limited dealings with things, perhaps not exactly of this nature, but similar, that sometimes all it takes is a strong enough belief. And perhaps with such a terrible thing, it might not be the best idea to create something that people could
all it's got to do is make it wrong. Slightly wrong, so, it just looks like it. Are you saying if I put on something that looks like it, I believe hard enough? I mean, I will sell you many things, but I will not buy that.
I think that with incredibly powerful ideas, very unfortunate things can sometimes come of them. That's all. Take it for what you will. What do I know, really?
Well, I know that a lot of people in the I was going to say, I know that a lot of people in the ways of the bounty world would pay a fine dime for something that is considered an artifact. And if there are people who have different connections, then finding somebody who might know about said artifact might be a way to do so. And if we are making a fake one, then we aren't risking the real one being stolen. Right? Is that the idea?
At this point, Vindus, who has, if you recall, did rejoin you after you left the temple. For those who may not remember, Vindus, of course, is a tall, palish blue high elf of the forest. But finely dressed, other than the simple cloak that he was using to hide his fine dress. And says, it could be useful at the very least if perhaps we don't go into the ruse, but perhaps we do. And it's also possible that we could just leave it as a decoy. While we're not trying to convince people to try to buy it, leave it as a decoy so that if someone tries to steal it, they steal the wrong. Either way, having it is useful. I must agree.
Well, regardless, I need to go to Master Bogdan's forge. I need to reforge a weapon for our friend outside of the city.
Oh, yes. The one I haven't met yet.
I
Correct.
should
Look
most
forward
certainly
to
tell the captain of the guard about that, right? I did.
You
I
did.
thought I did.
We did.
I mentioned
Yes.
it briefly.
Yes. You mentioned it. Tell them if they see one, don't. They see a glut with a scarf, don't kill him.
He's
Yes.
quite interesting, I will say.
It would appear our party is full of interesting, including yourselves. And as I was saying earlier, when we have our conversation, I would like very much to know what it is that you know, because it seems like far more than you like to let on.
Oh, I am not shy about saying I know a great deal of things. Maybe not as many as Mr. Aristides here, but I'm not shy about it either. What was the term? Earned arrogance.
Correct me
Yes.
if I'm
We may
wrong.
know different things.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's probably like 99 out of 100 things in that batch that you can't quite be honest about. And I noticed you do that. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, or we'll just pretend that I didn't say anything and we'll move on with the conversation.
I do not think I have told you a single lie yet. If it stays that way, who knows? But to be fair, I could also be lying about lying. So
You certainly could be.
I suppose that depends on how you measure, or how you measure omission.
He's likely lying for fun. He hasn't asked us for money yet.
which is a
That's
good
fair.
point. I don't. We'll get to
He
that.
was in the tomb for a while before we were, though.
Right. Or was he? It's all very confusing.
I will
A
say.
conversation for, I'm sure, a round of drinks, but I think we're coming up on the tower.
Yeah.
And you are, in fact. So, the young man on watch looks at all of you, looks at Vindus Aristides, shakes his head, and just opens the door.
There's
Thank
just
you.
a nod and thanks.
How incredibly kind.
This is above my pay grade. You go. You talk, boys.
Perhaps time to ask for a raise.
Oh no, raises come with responsibility. No thank.
So
This is
true.
True.
So you go in and you speak to Boris, the older, thick-set, balding gentleman you spoke to before. All right, come in. I assume there is a great deal of news as we have just been attacked by a dragon.
Yes.
So you know how you get rid of one problem and then immediately it is followed up by another?
Yes, I know how that often works.
This is one
Not
of those
quite-
times.
Not
Yes.
quite on this scale, though. We were preparing for an assault by undead, and then we get strafed by a white dragon.
To be fair, there was then undead, if that is any consolation.
That is not
Probably not.
consolation.
Oh,
I didn't hear about that. Please explain.
Cool.
The guards that were frozen solid, their bodies fell apart, and from them rose frozen shadows, shades that attacked.
That's very concerning.
Yes.
Yes, we thought so. Also, there's that winter thing that's happening.
That by itself is extraordinarily concerning, but makes sense in the context of dragon.
Yes.
This
Well-
other bit, shadows rising from the dead killed by the dragon's breath. This does not make sense simply in context of dragon. It makes sense in darker, more unfortunate contexts. And when one is adding more unfortunate context to a dragon, one has a problem.
Yes. Also, I'm fairly certain this particular context is on top of the Tomb of Sorrows. Like, just a continuation of
something having to do with it as well.
Yes,
so I can expect basically this year we can expect an unending string of some sort of horrific crises that threaten the existence of the town and possibly the country. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is possible. I will write home to ask for help. Master Aristides, can you say the poem again?
Oh, absolutely. One moment. Let me get my memory straight so I do it properly, of course.
Would it be best to write it down? Once again, my magical knowledge is limited, but from my understanding,
in this case, writing it would be perfectly acceptable. It's not magical in and of itself.
Okay, I just don't like when we say the things out loud, there's just this, I worry about something listening. I'm just not a fan.
This one, yes, this is more of a warning poem. It's not like an enchantment. It's the sort of thing one makes to remember the problem, whatever it was, you see?
Right.
So you can go ahead and write it down now as I recite it, and then we can have it available for later. Does that sound reasonable? Good.
Yes.
7 crowns of sorrow made he there. 1 for acedia, the sin of despair. 1 made for avarice, the sin of greed. 1 for the glutton who takes more than he needs. 1 for wrath, the sin of aimless rage. 1 for pride, sin of noble and sage. 1 made for lust, sin of power, not joy. And the last made for envy that yearns to destroy. And as we already discussed, we are fairly certain that at least the first one came at the beginning of the poem.
Correct. And if we're going based off of the order here, the next one is greed.
Which would be appropriate for a dragon.
Correct.
Yes, oldie.
Just noting something in my own brain here, but I need to ask, is there a particularly well-known or good hunter or ranger in town? I would presume there is some kind of Pathfinder around some sort. But we're going to need probably some assistance in locating the lair. I'm not saying they need to like go in with us, but we need help finding a dragon nest, and somebody of that particular expertise would be especially useful if you could recommend somebody.
Boris says, well, we have a number of very capable rangers. Probably the best at the one who is perhaps the best at long-range patrol by himself and knows the area the best. Probably Ivanchenko. He has lived in this town his whole life, and has ranged out for hundreds of miles in each direction. If there's anyone who knows where such a lair would be most likely to be found, it is he.
Do you know if he's currently on duty?
I do not even know if he is currently in the town, but I can find out quickly. please excuse me for one moment. And he goes to his aide-de-camp, his door guard, and tells him to send a message. If he's in the town at the moment, we should know in a matter of a few minutes.
Vindus, do you have access to sending or message?
I have a number of different ways to contact people at long range, yes.
Would you be able to contact my order?
I could do that. It would be more difficult as I don't know any of them personally, but I can certainly contact the noble who runs the city where your chapter house is and pass a message that way. My messages are most easily done with people I know personally, and I haven't interacted with members of your order very much, as you're mostly fairly humble and secretive. You don't spend a lot of time hobnobbing with the rich.
No, not particularly.
And I only do because despite being a rustic elf myself, as I became a high-ranking professor of the college, well, that carries a certain cachet of its own, doesn't it?
Yes. If you could reach out to them, I ask them that I send for at least 4. I'm sure that they know that it's urgent if I'm requesting aid. Normally, I don't bother.
Indeed.
And if we gather other crowns, then it would be nice to have more assistance.
Yes. If there are going to be a number of crowns here, it will get more and more dangerous as time goes on. And we must begin to try to figure out how to destroy them eventually.
Speaking of which, Jack, I would like to maybe roll a history or religion, perhaps.
Either one of those may help.
Yeah, about if there's a particular capital THE forge for Ignia, because that seems like a place where we would be able to destroy said things.
You don't even have to roll for that.
Fantastic.
On the island of Coreta, there is a tall mountain called Mount Ignia that for the longest time was a dormant volcano until Magnus fought Interitus on top of it. And because he was calling out to Ignia and Savios at that time when it happened, Interitus was struck by lightning and by the volcano simultaneously. Gotcha. And that is one of the most holy places on the planet for both Ignia and Savios. Solus, it's secondarily slightly holy for Solus because it was his eye and sunlight that allowed them to reach into it because it had been blocked off from the gods. Gotcha. To get a better idea of how that happened, go ahead and read my 9 Trials of Magnus on my website or any number of other places that I've put it up. Also, you could just listen to it on my podcast. Anyway.
Cough, cough, shameless plug.
Hey, listen.
Look, this is actual lore. There's a reason I did the podcast.
Look, I said shameless. There's no need for shame. It is a good plug. Slides right in.
It does. It does. All right.
Mount Ignia would probably be the best place to destroy these.
That makes
Quite a journey.
Sense. And it's on the island of Coreta, which is unfortunately in Byzantine territory.
Right. This is not going to be an easy task.
Well, terribly sorry. Why is this going to be so difficult?
Because, all right, Obviously, you have been detached from worldly concerns in some way for some time.
Call it I've been living under a rock.
Quite literally.
Or a few, perhaps.
The Autokratos Vizantos, the Empire of the East, is the one place remaining that is still ruled by the person who ruled when the Empire of Rega fell. The Eastern Emperor of Rega has ruled Vizantos for the last 1100 years. And when Rega fell, he swore fealty to Interitus, believing that the bright gods had forsaken him and all his people. The four successor states, and Scaria most especially, have been at war, a defensive war against Vizantos for all of their existence. Now, the bonus is you wouldn't have to try to get there over land. It's an island, and the Byzantine navy is not nearly as dangerous as their army. It might be possible to slip a ship through.
The words "never get on the boat" come to mind.
Well, there is that, you see, because if great evils are waking up, I don't know why, and I don't know how it would be associated, but I am mildly worried that the creature that Magnus fought at Coreta, the Megakitos, might also wake. It's also called Leviathan. It was a creature so powerful, even Magnus could not kill it. They simply had to lock it in a grotto of magic and coral.
Let's hope it wasn't given the crown.
I'm sorry for saying this out loud, but I had this thought, and it's going to make me cry. But what if, just hear me out.
Great start.
Getting rid of all the crown holders is actually sacrificing them. And bringing all the crowns together is a really insert every expletive you know in every language here idea.
That's a horrible notion, and the one thing that keeps me from being overly worried about that one is the way you got rid of the first crown holder. He can't have been sacrificed. He was taken by the gods.
So are you suggesting that perhaps the actual solution to this problem is friendship?
I didn't know I was doing that, but absolutely. Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying now.
I regret having opened my mouth.
Good, you should.
Well, at least I'm not married to him.
We're not married.
I don't think you should give up on the idea of redeeming as many of the crown holders as you can, but I don't think you should make it a mandatory part of your plan either.
Oh no, this is entirely self-sacrificing on my end.
Right, some of them are probably just going to need to be killed.
I mean, there's no such thing as mandatory. Because, everything...
You know where dragons came from?
Yeah, the horror.
Was it the blood of the thing you talked about once?
Yes.
I was very bored.
Yes.
Yeah, it's bad.
Dragons, the chromatic dragons specifically, were made completely from the flesh and blood of Invidia herself. The thing that tried to eat Savios at the dawn of creation. The thing that's trying to destroy the entire world despite already being dead.
Right.
It's not a very good job killing it if it keeps trying to eat you.
That's one of the problems that faces our world, is that this thing is the oldest thing. And yes, it's dead, but its parts aren't.
The reason my people were made.
To fight the dragons and their spawn.
Well,
The dragonborn, the kobolds.
then I suppose we're actually lucky that you're here.
Very much.
Depending. This isn't the type that my family was made for. But it helps. I can speak with them, I think.
Yes, and you have an advantage, some advantages against all of them, regardless. Yes, you would have even more advantage were it, say, a blue, but your abilities are not to be discounted.
I try to stay humble.
And the abilities that you have chosen to learn to wield may be even more important than the ones you were gifted with by the gods.
The hammer?
No. I meant your personality, actually.
Aw, that's so sweet.
But the hammer works, and I am a fan of the hammer.
Perhaps together we can defeat this ancient evil.
With friendship and a good hammer.
Friendship, a good hammer, and your personality, of course.
Those who won't be friends, we just kill them.
Of course, that's how all good friendships start. Be our friend or die.
Only lovers left alive.
Boris is sitting behind his desk, just looking at you guys like...
As we sit here talking casually about gods and dragons.
Right.
And murder. And murder.
And murder, yeah.
And murder.
This is not something I need to hear unless it directly involves defending the city.
We're going to go defend the city.
Yes. And it's about that time that the young man comes back in and says, yes, Ivan is here and he is on his way.
Thank you.
Florenta is going to put a hand on Boris and say, Captain, we are Scarians, you and I. You mentioned this is going to be a horrible year. I mean, isn't that all the years here in Scaria? Something horrible happening over and over.
Yes, but there are levels.
Yes, there are levels, but
and this is going to be one of the active years again.
Yes.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
I think, yes, probably.
Either age or die.
Don't make me choose. Anyway. There's nothing to fear in death anyway. It's dying poorly that a man has to fear.
As long as you've been good.
Or good
I don't
at
have
it.
to be I don't have to be 100% good. I've just have to do my best at having been good. The gods are understanding.
Oh, are they now?
I'm more than happy to have this
Of humans,
conversation
anyway.
with you.
Most of them, yes.
Interesting.
I'm all about the conversation of redemption. I am here for this.
So
I don't know that that's the conversation we're having.
I am now a little puzzled as to what conversation we are having, because you all seem to be having a conversation I'm not quite following.
I think we're having several conversations at once, which is just the thing we do. Don't mind us. We're sorry.
That's all right. It can easily be summed up. There are dragons, there are dark forces. We're going to try and hug them to death.
And then,
we're not all going to try and hug them.
Death them
I
to
did
death.
hug him, didn't I?
Yes, you did. That is what happened.
Nice.
You hugged who?
King Scarius.
You hugged Scoutus?
Scoutus.
Yes.
Scoutus, yeah.
Oh.
He was redeemed by Kayla.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm hearing is that I am in the presence of people who will either eventually be saints or will horrifically destroy everything because you have more power than you have sense.
Perhaps both.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say that, probably.
So, heroes.
I think
Florenta is
Justina was
going to
gonna...
pull out a flask.
I hate
and
it when
hand
heroes show up. Things always get complicated when heroes show up.
You're welcome.
Who are you heading the class to, Florenta?
I'm going to hand the flask to Boris, and I'm going to say, I'm not a hero. I just tag along, and there is money.
I'm not sure I want to be a hero.
I don't claim to be a hero.
See, none of us.
They very rarely do, and then they fix things, and then they mess things up, and then the whole world gets very complicated in ways that only they can handle. It's all over the histories. Go read.
Well, then hope that I die soon, so I don't trouble you any further.
Oh!
Shut your mouth. You do not die. I have told you I am too young to be a widow. Speaking of which, I will talk to you about this later.
Can I have some of that?
He hands the flask over. Once the flask starts making rounds, it makes rounds.
Oh, Oldie has the good stuff.
Believe me when I tell you that at this point, anything is the good stuff. And then he takes it.
You don't I take that as a personal insult now. Now I'm going through my backpack, I'm pulling out some mugs, and drawing little fox signs on them. And then I will cast my cantrip, and I'm going to make it, festival strength ale with wildflower flavoring.
Yep.
Okay, now everybody pass these around.
And this is the first time that Abolus has seen him use what is very obviously a cantrip to create ale, which is not a thing that should be really possible.
Correct.
It suggests to Abolus especially a level of favor from Volpos that is a little uncommon.
I see people looking at me. What? I mean, people make like huge tables of food and water all the time. I'm just making little mugs of ale.
It is good. That's why I'm looking at you.
Making ale as a very basic spell is not, and it's different ale. I can smell it. So it's different.
I can make all kinds of flavors. I mean, it has to be like field stuff, like flowers and bitters, or like herbs you might find out in a meadow. But yeah.
Just for a moment, and then it's gone. But just for a moment, there is a look of almost spite in his eyes. Just for the barest of seconds. And then he's back to that sort of wry, almost smirk. And
I take note of that, because you shouldn't have bad feels when you see this.
At which point the door bangs open, and a 6'6" mountain of a man. Now he's not as big as Luca, but he's big.
Close.
And he's got a big barrel chest and a roundish belly and long white hair and beard. He's wearing reddish brown leathers trimmed in white fur. He says he's got a short sword at his side that looks like, to Cole, it looks like it's almost certainly dwarven make, and it's about 1.5 feet wide. So it's sword shaped, but it's axe heavy. It's a really strange looking weapon. And it comes to a point, but kind of the way a shovel does, like.
Yeah. Yeah, without even thinking, he's like, who made your blade?
My blade was made by dwarf king in the north. He says is, what did he say? War spade.
War spade. Have I heard of that before?
Only vaguely. You've heard that some of the further northern dwarves use them so they don't have to switch back and forth. It's a hill dwarf thing rather than a mountain dwarf thing because the spade isn't as useful in rock.
Gotcha. Fascinating.
And he also has a longbow that is as tall as him. It's currently unstrung, but it's on his back. And it's bent backward the wrong way. So it's obviously a recurve longbow made of horn and wood.
Yeah.
And the
Hi,
arrows,
I'm Luca.
I am Ivan. You are very big
Cole.
and muscular. I am very happy to see you.
Oh,
Why, thank you. I'm very happy to see you too.
Most of your people are big and muscular, though, too. Yes.
Yes, Ivan.
But
this
even
is
for your
wonderful.
people, you are impressive.
There is a almost preening.
Yes, Ivan, my spouse is very lovely. I do have a question for you.
Yes, I have answered. Let us see if they are the same.
Yes, let us. So I am looking for a lair where a white dragon might have taken up residence.
All right. I assume this is why I am called, yes?
Yes, Ivan, that is why you are called.
Excellent, excellent.
Yes, indeed. I take one of the empty cups and fill it back up and hand it to him.
Thank you. Sinks the whole thing, puts it down. All right. So the most likely place is, this is why it's snowing, yes?
Yes.
All right. So at the smallest range, it has to be within 3 miles of town. I think this is not true. I think probably between 6 and 12 miles of town. Because I heard from boys on the wall as I come in, the shadow was big. So it's, a grown-up dragon, not a baby. Yeah?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Good place for a big white dragon to make a lair, put all of its money, and have a place to keep its kobolds and dragonborn, and have a place for its boys to come and see it.
She's nesting.
Right. So it has to be, it's going to be to the east in the crags, probably, because there's a kind of outcropping from the mountains about 5 miles northeast of the tomb. It's like a mini mountain, big damn rock. Anyway, so it's got a lot of holes in it, and she could probably turn it into something better pretty quickly with a whole bunch of kobolds doing the mining.
Okay. And to your understanding, is it possible for a dragon to claim an area so quickly?
Yes, and I know you're probably not going to be surprised to hear that it means it is very powerful, and not on the physical level. Like, its physical power will probably be impressive, but that's not the important part here.
No, it's the magical power. Yeah.
Right, and that is not normally the case for a dragon unless it is a very old dragon.
Yeah, we have reasons to think it's old and got something a little special too in its hoard, so to speak.
Well, if it's got a special thing, maybe if it's got something to magnify its power, maybe it doesn't have to be as old.
That is more likely the case.
Have you ever run into a dragon that can create undead or summon undead?
Yes. Not very often. Mostly they don't like that kind of thing. Not like they're against it morally or something, but like they prefer to use big bang powers. lots of flashy boom and ice all over the place for a white dragon, you know? If it's doing something like that, then it may be more subtle than most, and that's a little scary because white dragons are normally stupider than the other dragons.
Right.
The ones that you have run into. The ones that you have run into who have that ability. What was the easiest way to deal with them in that regard? If you have knowledge of it, if you dealt with them personally or have knowledge of it.
Well, I got the clerics to go with me to take care of the undead, and then I shot the dragon. A lot. But mostly I have only dealt with young dragons. I am not some great hero, I am a hunter.
What's going to happen to the boys and kobolds if she's gone? Are they going to go on a rampage or disperse or like what?
Normally they will run back to the mountains to get away. When a dragon comes into Scaria, it is coming either from the northern barbarian wilds, but more often it is coming from the Skalpatian mountains and Vizantos beyond, because the chromatic, the colored dragons, they work with the God King.
Well, at least we don't have to fight all of them. Or, sorry, hug all of them.
Hug?
I doubt very
It's a long story.
We've already gone through this once today. Don't worry about it. It's an unbelievably, absurdly legitimate plan. It's fine.
Just personal.
All right. But anyway,
inside joke.
That's fine. So, yes, I have dealt with some younger dragons, and normally you take large groups so that you can handle all of their problem. The thing is, mostly we have dealt with the males, because mostly the females do not come this far out to try to nest. It attracts too much attention, and then they don't have the support of the other creatures and the armies, you see? Yeah? Yes. So if a queen is coming out this far, why?
Could something have taken over her previous nest?
That is possible. They do compete with each other for space.
Or she made a deal to be given more power. But in order
so
to
that
do
she could compete better with other dragons and take more stuff. It's possible, yeah.
Fallen crown attracts crown, perhaps.
Or
what is the best way to deal with the dragon? Sorry, Cole.
It depends on the dragon. And again, I have experience with younger dragons. I understand it takes magic or magical weapons to even hurt an older dragon. And I only have one of those arrows. Try to fight it somewhere it cannot fly? It's not very easy in Scaria with so much of Scaria being open sky.
I was under the assumption that you had tactical information to offer us, so I do apologize if I'm asking questions out of your range.
I have some tactical information to offer. You can sometimes taunt them to get them to come to you to fight on the ground. Definitely you need to be able to use ranged weapons so they don't feel safe in the air and they feel like they have to use their great strength against you up close. Sometimes you can make them angry enough that they don't think clearly.
Well, there's something
I can
I'm
taunt
good
them
at.
in Draconic, so that's possible.
So you're saying we take the giant creature, make it very mad at us, so that it just berserk tries to eat us. This is wonderful advice.
I can certainly do that.
It's
I
not
can
safe,
do
but
this.
it is a way to get it where you can hit it, because otherwise you're going to be trying to shoot it at hundreds of feet away while it freezes your head.
This is true.
That's okay. I can do that. I'm very edible. Don't worry about it.
Because it can still kill you even if it's not mad at you. In fact, it can kill you better when it is not mad at you.
I might not be as edible, but I'm fairly confident I could draw its eye easily enough.
If you
We
have to
should-
go into its lair after it, then you have problem, right? It
Right.
might not be able to fly in lair because it's, crap, right? But it has other powers there. The lair, the nest it makes has magic of its own.
Don't fight it in its home turf. Got it.
You may not have a choice, depending on how we find it.
I've got ideas.
I need to go do some crafting in preparation. And I need to send word back home to send for help.
I think there'll be I think there'll be a great deal of that sort of thing happening. We will be sending word back to the Vavod that this frontier needs reinforcement immediately.
Smart.
So
Yes, sir.
Florenta is going to sort of sidle up to Boris and flash her signet ring.
Mm-hmm. He
Like, you know
leans
who to
back
contact.
slightly, raises an eyebrow.
You know who to contact.
Very well.
I will send a letter.
All right. Thank you. Well, this is going to be very interesting. I don't know if it will be quite as straightforward. Of course, this is Vindus. I don't think it'll be quite as straightforward as perhaps just finding its lair and going after it.
No.
Of course, no.
You're most
It
likely
was
going
one.
to have to deal with at least some of its minions on the way. Whether that's just undead or whether you have to deal with its kobolds and its dragonborn.
How
Expect to
loyal
do
are
so.
those kobolds?
What was that, Florenta?
How loyal are these kobolds?
Generally speaking, extraordinarily loyal. Very devoted. This is their mother we're talking about.
I don't know. You might be able to bribe someone to kill their mother.
It's not the way the minds think. Look, all right. Have you ever seen an ant pile?
I have. Yes.
How about a beehive?
Yes. I mean,
All
I've
right.
seen these things.
What do the insects do when you threaten their queen?
I honestly don't know. I did not touch any of that stuff.
That was
They
wise
get-
of you.
They get very angry and try to kill you.
Right. As far
Regardless of how small.
as we're able to tell, the kobolds and the dragonborn are her own spawn. They're like drones. They're like the worker ants and warrior ants, or like the bees. They're all her children, or at least the children of her family. You know, they might have been given to her by her mother. But they are generally mindlessly loyal so long as she lives.
Do you have maps of the terrain that we'd be entering?
Boris is like, we have some maps and charts, yes. Ivan is like, the maps are stupid. All these maps, these people I know where you're going. I will draw you a picture. How about that?
Are you a cartographer?
No.
No, that's not what he said. He said the picture. It's very different.
Well, really, the only difference between a picture and a map is the details.
Correct.
Yes, there are more details in a picture.
There are more details in a picture.
But
Perhaps...
anyway, you don't need map. You have me. I take you to the crags.
Excellent. Okay. Do we have need for anything else here?
At which point, Boris quietly slides a map across the desk toward whoever's willing to grab it without Yvonne noticing.
Luca doesn't bother with any form of deception, takes it anyway.
Yvonne doesn't notice. He just...
Perfectly fine. Do you happen to have, and this is obviously quite a long shot, any form, Cole, I suppose you're familiar with the Forge and whether or not they have magical weapons or otherwise. I know it's...
I
gave you my hammer. Oh, wait.
A few people in town have their own magical weapons, but no, we don't have them to spare. They're not that common.
I'm aware that it was entirely a long shot, but the question had to be posed.
Don't worry about it. I will make sure that your weapons are magical. Well, at least one is magical.
Better than none.
Correct. Also, Sir Boris.
Yes.
Captain. Sorry. Terrible with titles.
It's all right. I honestly don't care.
I believe that there was contracts for our success on the mission to handle the Tomb of Sorrows.
Yes.
Any payment that I would receive, I would like for you to give to the families of the guards that fell to the Dragon's Breath.
All right.
Oh my God, these people are going to be loaded.
Oh, are we getting paid for that?
We are getting paid. You are not getting paid. You were not part of the contract.
That's hurtful. I played my part.
I'll give you half of mine.
We also received treasures. We also received treasures after the tomb disappeared. Did you not get them in your bag?
I would have to have had a bag for them to land in.
Well, that
my dear wife, how many contracts did we have? What was it? 1, 2, 3, 4?
Four, correct.
Interesting.
Florenta's got the paperwork.
Fascinating. Though I'm happy to share.
Well, I will make sure, my friend, looking at, I will make sure that you have room and board.
How kind
I will give you half of my share.
If you insist.
If we all toss in a fifth of our share, we all toss in a double tithe, 20, and into a pot, and then he would have an equal share to the rest of us. Nobody has to give up a full half or anything like that. If we just
This works.
and a double tithe, then everybody has equal.
I will point out that though I led you to all of your new fun toys within the tomb, I kept my hands to myself. And unfortunately, I do find myself empty of pocket. It would be nice to have a bit of walking around.
So Florenta's
the
just
bag
going to give
first.
him money.
I'm
Thank you.
just saying, if he's going to be part of the polycule, then he should be
what
included.
What polycule?
I don't think
What
I agreed to
polycule?
that yet.
Jack,
Yes, ma'am.
since Florenta has flashed her connections, it's probably likely Dad is going to come out here.
Maybe.
And so I want to take hold of Luca and say, you will be meeting your father-in-law soon, probably. Come with me. I wish to get drunk and then sleep.
Drunk and sleep sounds good.
Yes.
What?
I would rather avoid sleep for as long as I can. I think
Oh,
I've slept
yes.
Are the two of you newlyweds? Happy wedding.
They both are.
No, we're not. We're They're bright
Look,
red.
points
like-
to the rings, like holds up Oldie's hand.
There's just gripping his face.
Congratulations.
and he's
I'm
going
very
to
happy
walk
for all
out.
of you.
It's beautiful.
Walking out.
I had a husband once. Dragon ate him.
Oh,
Hmm.
Very
bad
unfortunate.
You know, it's part of job.
luck. At least you're practical.
I don't know.
See, if I get
It is
eaten
not
by
very
a dragon and
practical
you become
to.
a widow,
It
it's
is not
okay.
very practical to do job I do. Really, is
Right, I'm left. I'm gone.
all right. Well, as the party disperses to their various entertainments and rests before figuring out their next step, we will end our session there for the evening.
Woo!
We have before us, you have before you, the problem of dealing with a dragon and all of its minions. And it's not a normal dragon,
Mm,
and maybe it's got an artifact.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't love that, if I'm being honest.
Again,
Not
0
really.
out of 0 stars. Hard dislike.
And that's only number 2 out of 7 if you're right.
Don't remind me.
Just got to climb that ladder of WTAF. What is it? What is this? This is BS. Gods, what are you doing? Get to work. Clean this up.
Nope, they'll leave the mess for us.
Right, because it's
I
all
need to
just
point
under
out
the
It's a
radar.
test.
No, I need to point out it's very important to remember the gods of Rega do their level best to keep their people protected. The problem is there are 3 opposing gods who are actually individually more powerful.
Yeah.
If we all just stop believing they exist, they'll go away.
That's not how that works.
That's not,
I think,
this isn't
that's-
me.
I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah. So,
All right. I thank you all very much once again, my players, for being so fantastic. And I thank all those of you who watched us tonight. We will see you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. If you're old enough to get that joke. Anyway, we will be glad to see you again on the Successor States of Rega in the Shadow of the Dragon story arc. But we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. I have been Jack Kellum. I'm going to stay Jack Kellum. That's not going to change, but I'm going to talk at the end. All right. Q, read us out.
Oh, I may or may not have been Q. Who's to say, really? Played Cold in the 80s. You can find me Dorian_Black on Twitter. There's also a Twitch thing. Don't even worry about it. It's fine.
Rev.
Hi, I'm Rev. I write for Thought Police. I write games. I write solo tools to play games. And you can find Thought Police on Twitter as _Thought Police. You should come check it out. Got some fun stuff. Got some open source toolkits to make games. Co-make your own games. It's super fun.
Yeah, it's some good stuff. I've looked at some of it.
For our like power of friendship tour here.
Yeah, if you look back at our VODs, we had a fantastic couple of games from Thought Police that Rev ran for us, which were awesome.
Indeed. All right. Justina.
Hi, I'm Justina. I have played Florenta the Thief. And you can find me on Twitter at Justina Revolution. Yeah, I write horror stuff, scary things, and run scary games. So thank you.
She does. She runs good, scary games. I have much enjoyed thus far. Looking forward to more. All right. Dell.
Hello. I'm Dell. I have been playing your local Paladin of Redemption / Lembo, Luca Sobieski. You can find me at Dell Deliriums or Delirium is Delight, depending on where you're looking. Lots of WIPs, nothing actually published yet, but I'm just here for the thrills in the games and all of the love and magic and friendship.
Luca's not a man, but they are a dragon man. Anyway. Burn and 80. So that brings us to the Lion Knight.
That's me. At least I think so. We're doing a whole existentialism thing now in the outro, so I'm not really sure anymore. But I'm going to go ahead and assume that I'm Lion. You can find me at the Lion Knight 42 over on Twitter. You can also find me here at Tales from the Table, as I am, in fact, the head of this amazing studio and am incredibly lucky to be able to have these amazing people on and some other amazing people as well. And I'm doubly lucky to be able to be here for this. Now, I will take a second to point out that if you've enjoyed this game, if you think that these people are super cool, which you should, because they are, you can interact with them too if you'd like, both in the chat during our streams, but when not on the chat, you can go to their Twitter, and we have a Discord. So you can go find a link to our Discord down in the About section. Join us there. We have a great community, including all these amazing people, and you can hit us up. Ask us why we did the things we did. Ask us why we didn't do the things we didn't do. Why we built things the way we did, or anything else. Talk about game design. Talk about random stuff that has nothing to do with TTRPGs. We're happy to have you there.
We don't promise to tell the truth about our motivations, however.
Certainly
I especially
not.
don't.
Yeah.
I especially don't. As the game master, I am not going to tell anyone how this is going to turn out.
Very
Mainly
fair.
because that's what
Yeah. But I will tell everyone as much non-spoiler motivation as I can, which I guess for Abelis is not a lot, but it's there-ish. But this has been great. Love every single one of you. Love everyone hanging out in the chat. Thank you so much to the people who have followed and subscribed and stuff today. Seriously, it means so much to us.
Remember, check out my website of godsandgamemasters.com, because if you look under the Regan World articles, you can get a whole lot of background information here for free. And in my store, if you want to support me and make it so I can do more cool things, there are published materials also in this setting, including, races and classes that you may see being used, and explanations of the somewhat complicated pantheon that I've created that each of them are worshiping or not in the case of Florenta. Thank you again, everybody.
It's a matter of time.
It's true.
Yep. So just to take us out, if that's okay with everyone.
Yep.
Thank you so much again. Love everyone. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Make sure you eat. Make sure you stay hydrated.
Hail hydrate.
Hail hydrate.
Hail hydrate.
And
Don't hydrate.
always remember to tell your tales. Have a good night.